Is Jay here?
Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone. We are gonna wait a couple more seconds for everybody to join. Thank you for attending. All right, it's 12:01, so we're gonna get started. Thank you, everyone, for attending today's webinar. We are very excited to have you joining us, and we appreciate your time. The topic for today is dynamic professional development, leveraging LinkedIn Learning, and more. This webinar is being recorded, and I will start by introducing myself. My name is Paola Manterola. I'm the Vice President of Programs, and I work in collaboration with UCLA partners who offer resources and support to faculty and staff across UCLA. We will be hosting the Learn at Lunch webinar once or twice a month from 12 to 1 p.m. And I would like to encourage you to continue attending as we will be sharing useful, important information for you all. All right, so let's get started. Just want to make sure that I'm sharing my screen. Can you see it? Yes? Wonderful. So before I introduce our presenters, I would like to share with you all important information about the UCLA Staff Assembly. It was founded in 1978 and supported by the Office of the Chancellor and Campus Human Resources. We are an organization for staff by staff dedicated to promoting the interest and welfare of all staff and employees. Some of the UCLA Staff Assembly's purposes are to serve as an advisory board to the Chancellor and University Administration on issues of concern to staff, to foster staff engagement in support to UCLA's mission through educational, social, and community programs, to help promote respect and cooperation among staff and other members of the UCLA community by providing a two-way communication system. Something important to highlight is that all staff employees of UCLA are automatically members of the Staff Assembly. So what the benefits are? Well, it offers leadership opportunities, networking and building community, personal and professional development, staff representation on campus and system-wide committees, and so much more. So we would like to encourage all campus and health system staff to volunteer and be part of our community. We currently have an open position for the Vice President of Wellness. So if you are interested or have any questions regarding this role, please contact us at the staffassembly@ucla.edu. We are sharing with you our email in the chat. So if you are interested again, please don't hesitate to reach out. Now I would like to introduce our guest speakers, Regina Maris and Jay Gomez, who is filling for Sheridan Dodge, who couldn't be here today. So Regina Maris is the leader manager of learning and organizational development in UCLA Campus Human Resources Training and Development. In this role, she is responsible for leading the training function, as well as designing and facilitating leadership and management development, team interventions, and process improvement efforts. Regina joined UCLA in 2007 to establish the Management Development Certificate Program. Prior to coming to UCLA, she was the Director of Workforce Development at Los Angeles Times, Manager of Leadership Development at Tribune Company, and Employee Relation Manager at Chicago Tribune Company. Regina is a past president and past secretary of UCLA Staff Assembly. She is also a recipient of the Council of University of California Staff Assemblies, CUCSA, Outstanding Staff Award. Our second guest speaker is Jay Gomez. Jay is a learning and development specialist. Prior to joining CORE as one of the learning and development specialists, Jay spent 3 years in the Patient Communication Center, training new hires on subjects such as technical skills on Care Connect, effective communication through the phone, and CCARE. He also worked in the ISS training department, where he trained physicians and clinical, non-clinical staff on EPIC. He has a bachelor's degree in communications from Carolina State University, Fullerton. All right, so with that introduction, I'd like to recommend all attendees to please put your questions in the Q&A chat box. And after the presentation, we will be hosting a brief Q&A section. And so we encourage you all to add all your questions in the chat box. Thank you so much, Regina and Jay, for taking the time to be here with us and for the valuable information you are going to share with us. I'm going to pass it on to Regina.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Staff Assembly is one of my happy places, hardworking places, but one of my happy places here at the campus. So I'm happy to be here to present to the folks, and welcome to what we're calling a dynamic professional development, which may sound a bit hyperbolic, but consider it in context. Dynamic refers to the constant change or progress or process of improving systems, or people who are dynamic, who are full of energy and new ideas. And the reality is professional development is required to meet, create, and leverage the myriad of opportunities that can advance the university as well as your personal mission. So I truly believe professional development is dynamic in and of itself and helps to create dynamic folks. And in particular today, we want to focus on leveraging LinkedIn Learning and more. So let me go ahead and share our key objectives, really high level once again. I want to help you become familiar with LinkedIn Learning as a tool and a resource for you, but also mention the other resources that are at your disposal to help you grow here at the university. And when we talk about professional development, well, it really refers to anything that helps you enhance your ability to work, right? Sherry and I are huge proponents of formal training. Oh, and just to mention, Sherry got called into jury duty today. So I am excited about her doing her civic duty, but disappointing I'm not able to share the presentation. But really happy to have Jay here because he really is doing a lot of work with helping to leverage LinkedIn Learning in the health system side. But acknowledging that formal training is really only one path to success in an organization. If I use this picture on the screen, each person on this screen or each of you in this Zoom conversation represents a different approach to development. So a new person might need to increase their knowledge through shadowing. So it's not a formal workshop, but I'm going to kind of follow you around and get the lay of the land. Or an experienced employee might want to develop new skills as technologies is changing, and that is another form of development, as well as individuals might attend workshops or webinars, and a team might participate in strategic planning meeting, which helps them learn about the organization as well as each other. Everything counts as it relates to development. So one of the things that I'm going to challenge you to do today, and really on an ongoing basis, is self-reflection, because that's an important part of professional development. Take time to reflect on the ways that you prepared yourself to get where you are today, because it didn't just happen overnight. There are definitely some tweaks and skills you develop and education that you gained to get to this point. Reflect on it, capture it, do an inventory of that. But also think about, as you continue down your path, to capture when you have those experiences and which development opportunities work well for you and what can you recreate moving forward. So I'm going to ask you, we're going to start off a bit with the and more, and then we'll get to LinkedIn Learning. So just to briefly talk about my department, I have a small but mighty team of 7 folks, including myself. We offer a lot of in-person or live development opportunities. So Zoom, a lot of it's being done via Zoom because we have a broader reach, but just to give you a sense of some of what we offer. We have programs which are largely cohort-based. And the thing about our professional development programs or staff enrichment or management enrichment, we can only get about about 25 to 30 people, maybe through these cohort programs at a time. So they're great experiences. You will talk to colleagues who've gone through them, and I will share a link with you that gives you a list of the various offerings. But we reach a limited number of folks. So then we're like, okay, but there are more folks on this campus than 35 or to 25 to a cohort. Well, let's offer certificate programs. These expand our reach because there's no limit as to how many people can come through the certificate program, but not everybody is willing to commit to completing 10 courses over some extended period of time. And our certificates include supervisory training, supervisory training related to HR principles, specifically management development. There's a e-course that's on people management. All of that's there for you, but not everybody's willing to make that larger commitment, but we expanded our reach. More recently, in the last couple of years, we expanded our reach even further by offering badges, which allow you to take deeper dives into topics. So it's about 10 hours worth of content, but some of that may be like a 2-hour workshop and a 1-hour workshop here or there. But again, broadened our reach some more. So we keep expanding, keep getting more folks brought into the net. And let's see, very quickly, excuse my looking over in this other direction. I do want to go ahead and give you a quick link. If my computer will let me, here we go. I'm going to give you a quick link so that you can see this list of offerings. So that is one bit of and more is going to take you to a Box account, and just wanted to at least show that to you. And we also have a bunch of individual workshops, like for example, time management, which is constantly a challenge for all of us as we are continue to enhance our effectiveness. So that's on campus human resources side. On the health side, well, let's go ahead and add to that. We've got a GUGOB. Sherry's team, another small but mighty group, also offers courses, but these are more specific towards health employees. And in that way, they emphasize the demands and the expectations associated with working in the health industry. Her team has identified coaching as an organizational priority, and many of the offerings that you see listed here lend themselves to preparing to give or receive feedback, improve performance, and just have a positive impact in the organization. So you'll see everything here from just our communication skills related to working remotely, crucial conversations, as well as crucial accountability, emotional intelligence, which we know is foundational to success, regardless of what level you're in at an organization, getting things done, which is just a foundational principle in time management. And then we have employee retention and engagement meetings as well. So both of our teams offer a lot more than these types of workshops, but at least wanted to give you a quick snapshot of that. And I'm going to share one more link with you. And Jay, if you're around, you might have another link. Let's see. I'll make sure this is going to everyone.
I could definitely share that link. The only thing is that it will consist of dates and times, how past dates and times we are currently
updating it.
So
that's great. For content wise, at least want folks to know what's available. The link that I just popped in the chat, I think might go to your spring catalog, but for reference, you'll have that information. And folks, I want to let you know, you'll be able to get a copy of this presentation, and at the very tail end of the presentation, there are a bunch of links so that you can get additional information regarding our offerings. But we are really here for LinkedIn Learning, so that's what I want to dive into right now, just give you a sense of that particular tool and resource. And I'm grateful that the university made this investment in this. So as I said, our teams are small but mighty. We're doing a lot. We're reaching so many people, but there are thousands of folks here at the campus. People work different hours. What else could we do? And this seemed to be a great tool to make available to staff so that they could continue to grow. So we can address a broad range of needs, broad number of position, level of staff across the organization. So the idea here with LinkedIn Learning is that it can supplement the in-person workshops that we're offering. So perhaps we only go so deep in a topic, and then maybe you want to do more, so you could drill more deeply. Or it can extend your development experience, right? It's an opportunity for departments or teams to identify their own targeted courses, right? And we might facilitate something that's broadly applicable, but you could decide in admissions, look, this is where we want to focus and really help build this skill. And Jay, I know you've been doing a lot of work on the health side with helping folks with having creating those types of targeted curriculums or learning paths. And then you as individual employees who could just decide, hey, I want to, I'm tired of working in this area. I want to learn more about this particular arena to round out my skills. And I had the good fortune of sitting in on a presentation earlier this week where there was a high-level faculty member, and he said his commitment is to learn at least 2 to 3 new things, to commit to learning 2 to 3 new things that may not relate to each other. And the idea was, how does he take that additional knowledge and then use that to really change and reframe how he thinks about his primary area of focus. So development and growth can go in any number of directions, and Yippee LinkedIn Learning helps you do that. A little bit more about LinkedIn Learning. Prioritizing skills really is more critical than ever because the skills needed to succeed, they're changing more rapidly than before. And that's because of what digital transformation and what global disruption and just economic uncertainty or economic challenges. All of that means, look, we need to keep picking up skills. And also it means that skills have what we call as a half-life of approximately 5 years, which basically means that, you know what, I need to start to pick up new skills because what I've had is becoming dated, and how do I build from there? In addition, as noted here, people, excuse me, you as participants have the potential to learn new skills as demonstrated. If you're on LinkedIn Learning, you will see people regularly updating their profiles with all of the skills that they've developed. So based on this data here, over 365 million skills were added to LinkedIn profiles over the past year. And then in terms of what experts predict, that there are going to be at least 12 million net new jobs. And that require, a unique set of skills. And you can see here at the university all of the different changes that are constantly going on. So what are you doing to prepare yourself here at the university? And to brief preview of just the different content areas. And this is actually what can be a little challenging as well. There are thousands and thousands of courses in LinkedIn Learning. If you take a look at this, you see, if I'm interested in any particular area of leadership and management, where do I want to focus my attention? Is there anything that relates to my function? Great platform if you're trying to develop particular technical skills. Excuse me. And then also soft skills. Folks don't necessarily see this as a resource for that, but it's a great opportunity for you to dip your toe into some knowledge and then come back into the real world and experience it. So I wanted to give you this quick overview and then actually dive into the tool a little bit just so that you can see what is available to you. And let's cross my fingers. I click on the right button here. All right, you should see my LinkedIn Learning screen. Yes? Okay. So I just want to dabble over here in here a little bit, and I'm just going to put in communication. And without, let me clear all of these filters here. For a minute. I was playing around beforehand, and of course I forgot to clear before I got back to y'all. Oops. There we go. Okay, so if I put in communication and I've pretty much cleared it and I clear the filters, one of the first things that I'm going to see is an opportunity for skill evaluation. So for some of you, if you're not really sure what course you're interested in, there are a laundry list of topics that you could actually go into and complete a bit of a skill evaluation. And really is typical, like just a handful of questions to respond to. But if you do that, then LinkedIn will pop up with, oh, here are some courses that might be of interest to you. So that's one way to get started if it seems overwhelming. And the reason I'm saying that is because when I put in communication alone, there are over 11,000 courses. Yikes. It's a lot to have to go through. So how do I boil it down from there? So that's one way. Or up at the top, there's editor picks. And another way is actually just to go through some of the filters that are available to you. And I just briefly want to mention, one of the first filters is what type of courses are you interested in? So do you actually want to go through a course that's taking you step by step, through certain learning objectives? Is there a video that you can just take a look at? And okay, I just want to listen to the person talk about it. There are even audios. So for those of you who may want to be on the road and no, we don't want you to have to multitask while you're on the road, there are actually some audio options as well as events. And then also learning paths, which are then a set of courses that will help you build your skills. The content itself, you could actually decide what you want to drill into. And if you do create a learning path within UCLA, you can actually click on it here to see what's available. And just quickly to show you, we actually implemented this during the pandemic and, oh, Sugarfoot, it's clear communication here. I'll go over to it this way. And some of the learning paths that you'll see available, Housing actually created several learning paths that were related to management. And you could ask your folks to go through those particular learning paths. So that's another route to take. And to come back to communication, to clear this out one more time, I will mention to you in particular, you can ask for how much time. I've only got 30 minutes, that's it. I can't afford to devote hours and hours to something. I just need something quick. And it's a great way, once again, for you to go ahead and decide what you wanna pick. Then you can even pick the levels. So there are any number of ways you can actually parse these courses to play around with them. For our purposes today, I'm gonna click on time pretty briefly here, boil it down. And then give you a chance to hear. Let me double check my share because I want to make sure, oops, that I click sound for you. All right. Okay, so I am just going to click on this one quickly. Could be this either. Oh my gosh. You know, my computer has decided to embarrass me in front of company. I'm just going to do a quick refresh here because for some reason the video did not load.
Forbes magazine once posted an article titled, "Communication isn't your number one problem, it's all your problems." That's a pretty bold statement. But indeed, poor communication, communication that's unclear, incomplete, or disrespectful, is a leading cause of confusion and strife in the workplace. There are many types of miscommunication. However, the Emily Post Institute, the US's premier institute on etiquette.
So I just wanted to click on that to show you, you can get a quick preview of what the course is and decide, hey, you know what, this might be what I'm looking for.
Says that the
And
most costly type of
and let's go right into the full course.
On etiquette.
So it
says that the most
I can decide I want to watch the full course, but what I wanted to show you, there were a few things in here. One, up here, you can save it for later. So you might see something that's interesting. I'll save it for later. I will come back to it. You might decide, I don't need this full course. I just want to click on one particular section.
What's tricky about
it'll take me to email communication, but what's also neat with this is I could decide to share, and it gives me the option of sharing the full video or just this particular 3-minute link. So if there's something in particular in your department that was of interest to you or that relates to a particular initiative or project, you could actually find a quick little 3-minute link to share with your team and then have further discussion about that. So I think that's one of the really neat opportunities with LinkedIn Learning, again, expanding the learning here. Excuse me. I will also note for you, there's an overview of what's in the topic. You can actually post Q&As if you want. You can keep notes right here in LinkedIn Learning. And last but not least, there's a transcript. I don't know about you, sometimes I don't feel like listening to somebody. I just want to go ahead and let me just read it. I can kind of quickly glance through this, see what I'm looking for. All right, yeah, this is the topic I'm interested in moving up, further exploring. So this is the neat thing about LinkedIn Learning. And I will tell you, I love facilitating in person. I love my flip charts and markers, but you can't fast forward me. You got to ride with me. So if you want to fast forward through this to get to your point, you're able to do that and still get what you need in the moment from LinkedIn Learning. Let's see, I'm trying to see if there are any other things in particular I want to highlight here. I do not think so. Let me go back to this main page and a couple of other areas to mention to you. So noting over here, there's the browse section and you can browse business topics. So related to particular roles, you can click on this and learn a little bit more, or their learning paths that have already been established. So I want to become a project manager. You notice here's 9 hours of courses. Right? So within this, there are a bunch of courses that you can explore. Business isn't your bag. You're interested in being creative. Here you go. Graphic designer, photographer, etc. And there are others that you can list here, and there are learning paths associated with this, as well as the topics that are associated with that. Of course, technology. So once again, you can drill more deeply. And as I mentioned over here, there's some paths that have been created here at UCLA. So you'll see some of those that are interested. Several folks have reached out to me. I'm trying to keep an eye on the time regarding certifications. So if you're interested in some certifications, there are quite a few that are available through LinkedIn Learning. So actual professional certifications for those of you who really want to get grounded in Microsoft programs and more. Some are certification preparation programs. So maybe I can't get my certificate through this, but I can at least begin to prepare for it. As well as continuing education credits, for example, the Society for Human Resource Management. There is a certification prep for one of the HR certificates here as well. And then a limited number of academic credits. So for if you are in fact trying to continue to build your CV and round out your skills, you can use this tool as well for that. So the real challenge is for you to decide, okay, just where do I want to grow and where do I want to dive in more deeply. I am going to hand this off to Jay in a moment so that he can offer some highlights. But Jay, are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, there we go. All right, there you go. Popped off of my screen. I'm going to pivot back over just so I can share one more time this list. I seem to have lost my list. There we go. Here, so I mentioned to you about the skill evaluation area. So when you receive this presentation, you'll see there are skill evaluation questions related to, I don't call them soft skills, I call them power skills, related to power skills, and then the hard skills as well. So you can use the LinkedIn Learning evaluation process to go ahead, complete the assessment, basically answering a few questions, and then they will pop up with, here are some recommended topics or courses that you might be interested in participating in. So that was my quick blitz of LinkedIn Learning. Jay, I want to go ahead and lob it to you in case there are other things that you want to emphasize.
Sure, sounds good. Go ahead. Is it okay if I share my screen?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. are. All right, can you all see my screen just fine? Perfect. So I actually want to talk about more about LinkedIn Learning. So as you can see here, there are 2 links that you can access. So if you are working in the health side, the top link is for you. You can access this, log in via your Mednet credentials. If you are on campus side, you would use a second link, and you would just use your UCLA login. Really simple to access and all that stuff. What we do on our end in the learning and organizational development is we're here to support you. So as you can see, there are 3 bullets on the bottom here, where you, if you are a leader, a manager, if you have direct reports, you can be a content curator. So what does this mean is that you can actually have special admin access in the back end, where you can create your own learning path. You can upload your own content if you'd like. And in addition to that, once you have created these videos, once you have shared different courses to your staff, you can actually track their progress, see where they're at. If they have questions and whatnot, you can go back to them, right? Which is an amazing tool to have, especially if it's something that you are trying to develop as a team. Definitely a useful tool. And if you would like to be a content curator, you please reach out to me or my team whenever. We would be happy to help you out whenever. We actually just help a specific department in the health side where we customized a learning path designed to their needs. So what happened was they reached out to us. They told us what they needed as a department, as a group. Me and my team then had a meeting, and what kind of content, what kind of videos, courses that they would benefit from. And from there, we created a list, searched through LinkedIn, and created that pathway for them. From there, we had more meetings with them, and basically shortened that list to better cater to that. So definitely a great benefit for you as a team, as a leader, to have this. In addition to LinkedIn, is you have different ways to use LinkedIn Learning. As you can see from what Regina just shared, so many videos, so many courses that you could choose from, so many topics. And here, there's different strategies that you could use, from onboarding to new manager training. In our department, we have professional development plans that we have to do. So people come to us to incorporate LinkedIn Learning to develop their plans, right? So we would get requests on what kind of videos, what kind of courses can I take if I want to, better my communication skills, or get more knowledge in project management. In a staff advisory group, you could assign LinkedIn Learning to those group, where the staff can get together and talk about it in a meeting or in a group, and try to plan out the year ahead. In gamification, we in other departments, we've had people where they had like games on, or contests to see who can get like 10 classes in a month, and then from there they'll win a prize, right? Just make it more fun instead of just work. And then lastly, you have your cyclical seasonal campaigns, where an example for this is you could in different time, like in the summer, for example, you can promote wellness, right? So you'll have videos, courses, learning paths surrounding that topic. And in the winter, you can promote project management or communication, and surround that with different pathways. So as you can see, there are different ways to really use and enhance LinkedIn Learning, not just for yourselves, but as a team as well. And again, if you want to learn more, please, we'd be more than happy to help you out. Reach out to me, to Sherry, my team, and yeah, we'd love to hear from you. So with that, Regina, I'll give it back to you.
Thank you, Jay. And one of the things I appreciate Jay going over that list of the different ways that you all can boost participation in LinkedIn Learning, because one of the things that we heard in our conversations with LinkedIn was, it's not if you build it, they will come. It's if you market it, they will come. So we can only do so much. The next step is like continuing to lean in on you all to take advantage of the tool and at least dip your toe in the water to try some of this. So both Jay's team and my team will do different things to make you aware and just to make sure you see how valuable this can be as a resource. But also want to emphasize that it is not the only way to develop. So I'm going to pivot back to and more, and then there are a few questions in the chat in the Q&A that came up. So going back to the and more of it all, staff assembly is an and more, right? Staff assembly is a development opportunity. Be involved with this project, expanding your network, getting a better sense of some of the opportunities that exist across the organization and being able to leverage your leadership skills. So AMG is comparable in that way in helping you build your network. Bruin Tech is another great organization, as well as, being able to take advantage of things like the UCLA extension programs that are available to you. So there's actually some no-cost courses that you can participate in, and affinity groups. So leverage those resources and those connections. And back to what Jay just mentioned, there may be ways that those organizations can take advantage of something like LinkedIn Learning. Like, how do we as a group, as an affinity group, build X skill and decide how we're going to leverage it in helping to improve the campus or in our constituencies. Another big way I have to emphasize is on the job. So as much as I love training, as much as it is keeping my lights on and helping to put my son through college, it is not the only way that we learn. In fact, in-classroom training or facilitated discussion is just the beginning. The next step is like, how are you using this? And obviously LinkedIn Learning is leaning into self-instruction, but on the job, the orientation opportunities where you can work with colleagues to help people get oriented to your department. Right, learning from your coworkers, the shadowing I mentioned earlier, as well as are there small internships that you can do, or job swapping in some of your areas. And sometimes it's just practicing. And one of the things that we talk a lot about in terms of facilitation is just role plays, right? Even role plays themselves, that's an opportunity for on-the-job learning to, let's see what this looks like. And now cut me loose in the real world and let me have these conversations for real. So make sure you're leveraging those on-the-job opportunities. And again, capturing it. Take a moment at the end of the year or quarterly to do a quick inventory of some of what you've experienced and what you've learned from those experiences. And the last piece in particular I want to emphasize here is just more of the and more, which is, okay, how do I start to use, apply, reinforce, and don't discount the value of just simple reading and writing. And we've gotten to a habit now of, reading short excerpts, on what comes through on our phones, but decide where you want to dive more deeply. With LinkedIn Learning, with all of those topics that are available, pick an area where you want to further develop your expertise and sit through about 3 or 4 different classes on a topic, just so you can compare and contrast what's come up. And from there, decide, okay, I want to take what they've said and how do I reframe this in my world? What does this look like if I'm working in DLAM, right? I'm working in the Department of Laboratory and Animal Medicines. I'm hearing all about these team building premises. What does this look like here? So you can do something like that so you can develop your own expertise and your own perspective and application. And then perhaps go ahead and share that with your colleagues. So it's a great opportunity for you to see, well, how much of this stuck with me? What resonates with my colleagues? And how do I then take it to the next level and start to have an impact in my organization? And one of the things I like to emphasize is this is not just about, oh, how can the organization benefit from blah, blah. No, this is whatever you learn is yours, right? whether you stay here or whether you go to an organization or you move to another department, that is yours to carry with you. That is something that is helping to further round out who you are and what you bring to the table. So please see this as a resource to help you continue to grow in making your best contribution here, in whatever way you think makes the most sense. The other thing I want to note up here is this idea about examining your decisions. Right, the idea with any of these learning opportunities is it gives you a chance to be more thoughtful, reflective, and consider how you are moving through your interactions with your colleagues in your teams. How do you cultivate your relationships and continue to share your knowledge? So that was a quick blitz of LinkedIn Learning. As I mentioned, the presentation is going to have a number of links that you can follow up on, but we wanted to make sure we left a good amount of time for questions. I actually ended up deleting several slides because I wanted to make sure that I didn't run out of time, or we didn't run out of time. And now I feel like I'm running a little short. So let me take a look at some of the questions that are here. And Jay, you can jump in as well. So the first one I see here is about the application process for our cohort programs. And so on the campus side, we have PDP, Professional Development Program, SCP, Staff Enrichment Program, MEP, Management. We have alphabet soup over here. If you look up on the chr.ucla.edu, you can do a search to see more about it. But basically, we will announce a call for applications. And at that point, you will see the details regarding the call for application. So it'll be for you to complete an actual application form that has some basic questions, probably to get some recommendations from folks as well as to, and then we're going to ask you, why are you interested in the program and how do you think you would benefit from that? And then the next step will be reviewing the applications for how well they are completed, how thoughtful folks are in their responses. We just have a committee of people that are looking at the applications, boil that down to a manageable number. And from there, there's an interview process as well. So there are a number of steps. There's some rigor to the process because we want to make sure that it's a good fit for you as well as for us. Again, we're taking 25 to 30 people. We might get, 60 to 90 applications at any time. So we can't accept everybody. And sometimes we do have to decline participants. We always encourage people to reapply. It's not uncommon for somebody not get in the first time, but to get in the second time around. I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. That doesn't necessarily make people feel better, but usually the timing is right when they get in it and they're able to take a full advantage of the program. We just started PDP and SCP, so the next call for applications for that is not until probably I think next March or so. The management programs I mentioned, our call for applications will probably be, I'm trying to get them up and going by late November, December, January at the latest, as those programs are earlier in the year. I don't know, Jay, if there are any particular cohort programs that you all have.
Yeah, that's a great question. We're actually creating one soon. We're in the final part of opening this up. So I believe by next year, January, I believe, or the end of the fiscal year in June, we're going to start accepting those applications. But yes.
Wonderful. Good. Excited to see what you have coming. There was a question about participating in CHR programs. So for our campus human resources programs, we are open to all staff across the health and campus side. Though that said, I always say, y'all take a look at what the health side is offering. All right, because again, their programs are frequently, they're going to bring in some nuances that are specific to health. And several of our programs there are no cost to them. So there's not a cost issue, but in particular, if it looks like there's got to be some type of financial investment, you want to be aware of that. The cohort-based programs that I mentioned are definitely open to both campus and health. We have a mixed bag that participate in those programs on our side. Oh, the Q&As are going faster than I'm Let's see. Okay, let's see. Do you need to have a LinkedIn profile? No, you don't have to have I don't, you can double check that. Okay, you don't have to have a LinkedIn profile. If you do, you can link the two. And what else would you add to that, Jay?
No, that's perfect. Yeah, you don't need a LinkedIn account. If you do have one, you have the choice to combine both or to link both.
Okay.
Yes. Perfect.
Cool. And is the opposite true? Can campus staff take? No. So this is my understanding is that campus folks cannot attend health classes. Are you clear on that, Jay?
That's 95% sure that that's true. Yes.
Okay. We're gonna keep working on it. I love cross-pollination, so we're gonna keep working on it if nothing else to it. But I think again, there's certain nuances on the health side that they really do need to make sure because of the regulations and things like that. Our net is a little broader. I have another LinkedIn Learning account from my grad programmers. Oh yeah, you should be able to either link or actually, Jay, let me let you answer that.
LinkedIn Learning. I believe so. I think you can. Let me see here. Yeah, I think you're able to use that account to transfer it over to the new one. You might just have to change the email so that way it's connected to UCLA.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, you shouldn't lose that. So the best way to access the other, well, so like the other list there, like with the AMG and staff assembly and UCLA extension and all of that, you'll end up having to go directly to those resources to learn more about them. But I wanted to make sure in our presentation that Jay and I don't just say, hey, you have to come to us for professional development. The options are out there, explore them. And if offline, you want to circle back with me to try to get some context. But honestly, the first thing I'm going to do is like a quick search and say here, learn more about that. But for the UNEX, if you put in UNEX X open, however I have it on the, actually, let me go to the page here pretty quickly. Yeah, UCLA X open there, you should start to see a list of some of the offerings that are available, at least, and they're initially for free. And basically what they're trying to do is pique your interest in attending other UNEX sessions, but just that little bit is still a great opportunity for development. So let me emphasize, I don't see any more questions. Oh, and can you please go back to the slide describing? Yes, I can. Did I change it in the middle of your writing? So one of the things I got rid of the slide, but I'll mention there's an engagement model that's kind of this idea. It's an X model of on one hand, we as an organization bring in teams because we have certain goals and objectives that we want to pursue and achieve as an organization. Right. But also as employees, you all have certain goals and objectives that you want to achieve, whether it's growth, whether it's work-life balance, whether it's financial compensation, kind of these two things intersect with each other. And the idea here is, as it relates to professional development, are you developing in a way that allows you to really do your best work here? So I can go ahead and achieve the goals and objectives that have been identified for me as a team member. But also, are you identifying the development opportunities that help you grow personally, right? And help you move towards what your individual goals are. So the idea with this is that you have a robust tool in LinkedIn Learning that allows you to explore either of those arenas, and optimally you kind of find that sweet spot where both are being maximized and you're able to fully engage. Let's see, is there UCLA swag type support prizes for the team development sessions that managers can have with their teams? We don't have a pool of items. We basically end up going to our typical vendors and saying, hey, what's available? Excuse me. But that said, I have to tell you, that's the conversation that I and my team are having right now, which is what are some of the actual, tangible incentives we can offer periodically like Jay gave the example of people having some type of competition and say, you know, if you go to so many courses, what's available to you? So that's what we're exploring right now, what type of actual investment we can put in this to incentivize folks to learn. And are all courses and training in LinkedIn free for you? Yeah, if as a Unix employee, yeah, as you're a UCLA employee, you should be able to go in, complete all of them. Jay, I don't know of any courses that cost anything in LinkedIn.
As long as they use the UCLA email, it should be free. Should be free.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I agree with you. It's also a bit overwhelming. So I'm sorry, the comment here is that it's great that there's a myriad of resources, but it's also overwhelming. I agree with you because there are like 16,000 courses here. It's like, I'm drowning. What do I want to pursue? So two things. One, I would encourage folks to do a bit of self-reflection to narrow it to a topic that you're interested in. So that's a starting point. The other thing is what we're trying to do. If you get our newsletter, and you should I think all employees should get our newsletter at this point, you will see that each time we're trying to at least share a particular topic of interest or courts that we think folks might be interested in. So if nothing else, click on that to see if, oh, well, maybe that's something. The other thing, if I have folks in here that are supervisors or managers, well, two things. One, is Jay mentioned, you can work with his team or you can reach out to my team and we can help you start to refine courses. We also have contacts at LinkedIn Learning that if we give them a topic, they will come back and say, look, here are 5 courses that might meet your needs. And so they can help to at least narrow it down a bit. So that's what we continue to work on. How do we make it a little easier? And like if I go into the grocery store now, once upon a time, I could just get oatmeal. Now there's like 10 different types of oatmeal. Come on, right? I just want oatmeal. So we're trying to do what we can to at least boil it down to, maybe we can get you to 2 or 3 options. But I will encourage you, don't so much be concerned about being overwhelmed as the flip side is just play. Just go in and play. Go ahead, Jay, you wanted to add to that?
Oh, no, that was great. Just agreeing to what you said.
Thanks. Oh, now you want to get specific. So let me, you know what? How much time? So we have a little bit of time. Let's see what happens when we go over to that. I don't know what's going to happen when I plug this in. And Jay, I don't know how much you've had to look up anything like this.
This is the first time I'm seeing fund management.
Actually, I put in 10 minutes or less. That's probably not a good idea. All right, so when I put in fund management, you're going to get some really broad, like private equity funds and things like that. That's not necessarily relevant to us here, but there are some basic financial foundations, foundation grants. So there's some general information, pursuing government grants and contracts. So there may be some elements in here that actually can work for you. But if this is an area that a department is actually interested in, my suggestion would be, it's like, who's the closest thing you have to a subject matter expert in this area, and say, hey, you know what, would you check out this, which one did I say? Like foundation grant. Do you take a couple of minutes to visit this session, right? This course, Nonprofit Management Foundations, and see what they think of it. So they might say, okay, yeah, this is pretty good, or that's not quite on track. And I think for me, that's not the only, but one of the challenges. Like, you will watch a course and it will be like 85% okay. But there's a uniqueness to being at a university, right? There's a uniqueness to being in a university health system. So I think, as with any workshop that you attend, you are going to have to consider, what is most relevant to me here? What can be kind of extrapolated to what I have here? And I need to supplement it with other information that makes sure that it's totally relevant. But I hope, for my person who asked about the fund management, I would encourage you at as a starting point, take a look at this nonprofit management foundations, right? And within that, there may be some nuances that would be helpful. And for other folks, I know this is one of the areas that we're challenged as a university, but there's financial literacy. Whoops, I just lost it. There was financial literacy for employees was here. So maybe there's some basic there, or whoops, no, don't click. And then there's fundraising here for not for individuals. So hopefully that's a little helpful, but that is one of the challenges with this. It's not always something that's very directly related, and we have to nuance it with our internal expertise along with that content. All right. What other, I just realized I have this still up on the screen. So let's go here. So we have the same type of page for health as well. So there are a bunch of links here that are available. Let me leave that standing up there for a minute for folks who wanted to reach out to the people on health. And then my next slide just says thank you. So we're about at the full length of the presentation.
Thank you so much. I want to big thanks to our guest speakers today. Again, this is such an informative presentation. This webinar has been very enriching as we all have the opportunity to continue to develop and learn new skills and have access to continuous education. So I would like to share my screen because we are almost at the end of today's webinar. Here we go. Please let me know if you can see it.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Thank you. All right. So as I said, we are almost at the end of today's webinar. But before we go, I would like to announce that right after this webinar, attendees will receive a link to complete an evaluation survey. And among those completing the survey, we will raffle off 20 football tickets. So if you are interested in participating in a drawing to win UCLA football tickets versus Coastal California, please make sure you complete the survey by 5 p.m. today. This game is on Saturday, September 2nd at 7:30 p.m. at the Rose Bowl. So let's go and cheer up for our Bruins. So drawing entry confirmation is confirmation that you will attend the game, that you will accept the electronic ticket transfer and provide a photo of yourself and your guest will be required for promotional and documentation purposes. So please include in the survey your full name, department, preferred number of tickets so you can get between 1 to 4 tickets, and your UCLA email address and the email address for ticket delivery. So all the winners will be contacted by email by the end of Thursday, August 31st. And also I want to give big thanks to UCLA Athletics for providing the tickets to us. All right, so our last slide is just to invite you all to stay connected with the Staff Assembly via social media through our LinkedIn account, our main website, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, where you will find a lot of information that we have available for you. If you are interested in volunteering, please sign up. There is a yellow QR code highlighted, so if you can afford to spend a few hours and contribute through volunteer work, we will really appreciate it. So thanks again, everyone. I hope that everybody who attend this Learn at Lunch webinar enjoy it, and you are taking away, of course, useful information and resources. Please stay in touch and volunteer if you can. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, folks, there are a couple of links in the chat if you're not gone yet. There's one link is an overview of our offerings in Campus Human Resources. And the other link is LinkedIn Learning actually mapped some competencies to courses. So for those of you who are a little bit like, oh my gosh, there's a lot here, that mapping of competencies to courses might be really helpful to you in picking and choosing what you want to explore.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again, everyone, for being here. And thank you to our presenters, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Great job pinch hitting, Jay. Thank you.
For having me. Appreciate you all. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.